Greetings, friends. Welcome to Backyard Astronomy with Gemini Brett. Today is Friday, Venus's Day, February 10th, 2023, and we are looking at the Big Dipper here, currently pouring water out this way. You know, you can drill a hole in the bottom of the cup and it drips water onto the celestial lion, who this plane is currently visiting. Another fun dipper trip is to follow the arc, the handle or the tail of the bear, follow the arc to Arcturus, and then spike to Spica, as they say, or speed on to Spica. So there's Spica and Arcturus, which live today in our day and age at 24 degrees tropical Libra. Porrima here, kind of the waist of the priestess constellation, is around 10 degrees tropical Libra. So we can see that the moon is about 14 degrees tropical Libra, and I'll cast a chart and check on that. Here the moon just looks full in your camera, but she's actually in, what is that shape? I mean, kind of like a trine, a little bit more than a trine's worth of smile in the moon. I'm going to sit with that in a bit too and see if I can tell where the sun is. But we want to get with North Star, okay? Because I want to show you how to see the midheaven in space with your face. If you're in the northern hemisphere, North Star will always be in your sky. The altitude to Polaris or North Star or your celestial pole, no matter where you are, is equal to the latitude where you are on Earth. That is 38 degrees above the ground. Here's the top of the sky, 90, the zenith, because I currently stand 38 degrees north of Earth's equator. 38 degrees north latitude, like Athens, Greece, here in the Bay Area of California. So 0 degrees for the horizon, and this is 38 degrees, about more than a third of the way to the top of the sky, which is about there right now, okay? And the Big Dipper points, we call these two stars at the end of the cup, the pointer stars, points to Polaris. It's about 4 more of those pointer star widths away, and generally speaking in that line, and generally speaking in a straight line. It's not quite. All the stars are spinning about Polaris because Earth's North Pole is pointing there. So as Earth spins with that as its axis, we experience all the stars spinning about that point, and a point opposite, which in the northern hemisphere is below the ground. So what I have done is I've built a sacred site called Chair. Right, so what I've done, I don't know if I don't think I can really show this, maybe, is, well, I've put Chair between me and Polaris. And so the chair is pointing south. It actually should be okay. I also noticed that the chair is wet. Fool me once, shame on me. We're not going to sit on that wet part. We are going to look at this midheaven tree. All right, so now that I'm sitting in my chair that's due south, I can see that this star has just culminated, because this is right in front of me. It just happens to be that this place on the patio sets up a meridian, a north-south line with that pine tree, which is quite convenient, because now I can see that everything to the west of that tree, which is due south, is falling down to set at the descendant. In other words, the moon is currently in the 9th house, whereas Antares here, and the Scorpion, is currently in the 10th house, climbing up. Parts of the Scorpion might be in the 11th, actually. This is Zubin el-Shamali, the star of the scales. This is Zubenel Janubi, the fulcrum of the scales. They actually mean the northern and southern claws, respectively. The scorpion used to be shown like this long, and then later holding the scales, and then just the scales. Well, in our day and age, Zubenel Janubi is at 15 degrees tropical Scorpio. 15 tropical Scorpio is currently in the 9th house. The midheaven, I gotta take the camera away from my face and measure the sky a bit, is currently 18 degrees tropical Scorpio. So I want you to see another thing, however. The midheaven is not the highest part of the ecliptic. In fact, right now, hopefully you can see that Spica, which is just south of the ecliptic. Zubenel is right on the ecliptic. Spica's like just as high, if not higher. I kind of need to stand up for this one, but I'm going to look like through Regulus here, and then draw this curve through Spica, the moon and Spica, and then Zubenel. And I can feel that I'm coming down when I move from Spica to Zubenel. The highest part is kind of like right here right now. So the highest part of the ecliptic is always square to the ascendant. I can't tell what's rising. I mean, I can see the scorpion here, and I know the archer follows the scorpion, and it's like the archer's down there, but I obviously can't see, right? Even if I go walk the streets, there's a hill over there. But if I can find the high point, which is like here, it's like 20, yeah, I think it's like 26 Libra, okay? Maybe 20, yeah, 26 Libra. So if 26 Libra is on high, then 26 Capricorn is on the rise. So my chart right now, I'm guessing, has 26 Capricorn rising. It's 18 degrees Scorpio at the midheaven, with the moon at about 15 degrees Libra. Oh, where is the sun? You know what, I want to cast a chart before I try to do all that. Well, yeah, let me see a chart. So it's currently 5:55 a.m. on February the 10th, 2023. I'm in Richmond, California. And the ascendant is 28 Capricorn. I think I said 26. And the midheaven is 19 and a half Scorpio. I think I said 17. Now wait just a minute. Hold the phone. Rewind. In reviewing the tape, I find I had said 18 Scorpio was at the midheaven. So I was within 1.25 degrees. In fact, I made that measurement a minute before I cast the chart. It takes 4 minutes for each zodiac degree to culminate at the meridian MC, the midheaven, and therefore 1/4 degree in a minute. So at the time that I made that measurement, the MC was 19 Scorpio, and I said 18 Scorpio. I got within 1 degree. That's great. I like to get within 1 to 3 degree with the MC. It's so much easier than getting the ascendant. All you have to do is find your meridian line, as I showed you in the video, right? In the northern hemisphere, we're very lucky in our day and age to have this North Star, and I can put a chair between me and Polaris, and then it faces south, which is where the MC is always in northern hemisphere skies, at least in temperate northern hemisphere. So I'm very fortunate here to have a view of the setting stars all throughout the year, and to have that midheaven pine tree if I stand or sit in the corner of the patio out here. It really helps me work the sky. And I was very fortunate at this time when I went outside to have Zubenel Janubi so close to the MC. Sometimes there's not bright stars nearby, or they're like low or high, and you kind of have to measure the sky with your body. I was fortunate at this time as well to have Spica, which is such a bright star and so close to the ecliptic, very clearly at that curve, the highest altitude part of the zodiac in that moment, because that's the trick for finding the ascendant. I mean, I have a pretty clear view of what's setting here. And so, of course, the ascendant is what's opposite to what's descending. But bright city lights, like haze on the horizons, all sorts of considerations, some hills, a mountain over there, make it hard for me to actually judge the zodiac degree by working with the setting stars. I can't see rising stars at all, as you saw in that video. There's a house, there's a hill beyond that, right? So I find what's rising on the eastern horizon by working with what's on high in the southern sky, the highest altitude degree of the zodiac. Some call it the nonagesimal, which just means it's 90 degrees away from the ascendant, and it is therefore the 10th house cusp of an equal house system, like the chart that's shown here. I have to work with that highest part of the ecliptic curve to calculate really what's rising in the east. And I had said 26 degrees Capricorn rising based on seeing Spica so close, but about 26 Libra on high. I got that within 1.5 degrees. I feel really good about that. I like to get that within 5. Now, look, if I was 5 degrees off at this time, I could have had the wrong sign. It would give me the wrong rising sign. Like, it's not a perfect science, this, but this is how we measure the sky. Like, this is how it was done back in the day. I'm sure I don't have written material presenting this technique, but I can't think of any other way that it would be done. It's hard to get other house cusps, by the way, and of course there's many house systems. There's many versions or visions for dividing the sky. But if I can get the midheaven in the ascendant, which of course gives me the IC and the descendant, if I can get the angles of the chart, that at least brings me in. And when I'm on my game, I can get the MC within 1 to 3 degrees and the ascendant within like 1 to 5 degrees, usually 1 at the midheaven and 3 at the ascendant, which is what happened here. And I feel really good about that. You'll notice I said the moon was at 15 Libra. I got within 2 arc minutes. And you know, that in this case, that was also kind of easy because there's a bright ecliptic star right there, which is called Porrima, which in our day and age is 10.5 degrees tropical Libra. And so I'm just measuring the sky. There's some secrets you learn there, like at your arm's length, your index finger is about 1 degree, maybe 1.5 degrees, depending on your finger size. 3 fingers like this, the Mercury mudra, that's like 5 degrees. The fist is like 10 degrees. Hang loose does 25 when you don't have bright stars nearby and you really have to measure a span of the sky, which is it happens all the time. Of course, it's harder to be precise when that's the case versus when you have bright stars just there. But I got the moon within 2 arc minutes, and frankly, I've been doing this long enough that it just doesn't surprise me anymore. And you'll remember I said along the way that the moon is like more than a trine. At that time, the moon was 126 degrees from the sun. We will never see the stars that currently host the sun's travel. You'll go blind trying, right? So we can kind of estimate or approximate where the sun is in the zodiac constellations by looking at which constellation rises before sunrise, like the last stars we can see on the eastern horizon before the sunlight takes the sky from our eyes. That will be the zodiac constellation where the sun was last. Or after sunset, we can look to the first zodiac constellation that becomes visible to our eyes. That will be the constellation where the sun is going next. But go out and try that for a month, and try that for a year, and you will find it is a very inaccurate science. Some constellations have bright stars, some have stars you can barely see at all, especially in the urban environment. Some signs, as to use the ancient terms, rise straight, some rise crooked, and crooked rising signs have the sun so close that you get much less of a view. It's a really tricky thing to do. The most precision I've had with knowing where the sun is in the zodiac, like I'm watching the sunset right now, and I've lived here for some time, and I've mapped the horizon and where the sun sets depending on what sign it's in. But if I'm just somewhere out on the road, then the best chance I have for knowing where the sun is in the zodiac, I mean, besides casting a chart or whatever, is looking at the shape of the moon's smile. The stars that the moon is currently traveling with will tell me where the moon is by zodiac degree. And then if I can see in the phase shape of the moon that, for example, she's more than a trine from the sun, I add 120 degrees, that's the trine, and then a bit more. So I wanted to mostly focus on getting the angles of the chart in this video, but I'll do some more videos in the future. We'll have to bring out a different camera where I can actually show you the very shape of the moon, the camera that I'm using here, so it can see all the stars. Just the moon always looks full, basically. But that's how that's done. So getting the angles, finding the moon when the moon's in the sky by zodiac degree, working with the moon's shape to then calculate where the sun is. And then you have the sun, moon, rising sign, the midheaven. Of course, any of the planets that are in the sky, at the visible planets anyway, you can also see by learning the zodiac degrees of the stars that they're traveling through where those planets are in the chart in any given time. This is how we see the chart in the sky, in space, with our face. So get outside and engage with the big screen of the living sky. Keep looking up. See you in space, friends.